Losers bracket, everybody. Let's go. Group B, the new patch in full swing. It is the first day where we have the new patch in a tournament environment. So these are the first games that we get. We had a few matches already in the winner bracket, and now we're going into the best of 3 series between DDX and Names Are Overrated. Now, again, we're going to go over some of the basics of what happened with the patch. This is the first significant patch in Heroes of the Storm in, I would argue, 5-6 years. So it actually affects the gameplay and doesn't only change a couple of heroes and change their priority. We have 1,500 euros on the line for the Eternal Conflict. This is Group B. In total, we have 10 teams competing, split into 2 groups, and only the best teams out of the group advance to the playoffs. Right now, I would argue that the biggest change that we so far had is obviously what has been done with the experience globes. So these small experience globes have been completely removed, meaning that if you are not more consistently on lane, you will lose XP, and your opponent is going to build a significant experience lead, a level advantage, a talent advantage, and roll over you. So teams have to be very careful that they mirror what the opponent does on the lane and that they're not losing out too much on lane experience. Meaning you can't just simply clump up as a 5-man all the time and roam the map and then lose out on minions. You have to make sure that you are catching a lot of that. Which technically makes it seem that heroes that can dominate on the map like D.Va, Khaldor, and others will have a big impact. We've seen Vikings banned, we've seen also Probius banned, albeit for a different reason. So this is going to be a big one. The next big change is that side lane pushing is a bit more impactful just in general. Because if as a hero you now attack structures, nearby minions that you have will get inspired. That means that you get an attack speed bonus for those minions and you get a movement speed bonus for those minions. So it's really deadly if you have a hero that pushes a lane by itself. So you always need to make sure that if your opponent does that, you send one of your own heroes in to mirror that and take those minion waves out, because they now do more damage than they did previously. Only if accompanied by a hero, of course. For example, if you have Brightwing, previously if Brightwing was pushing with a minion wave into some structures, people didn't really care too much about it. They were like, yeah, it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Now the presence of Brightwing on a lane like this means that your minions do a lot more damage, are faster, and you will lose those structures faster as a result. So you really have to pay more attention to the macro game, which in and of itself is not a bad thing by any means, but you need to also play around this a bit. You can't play the game the same way anymore than you did before. So something to really pay a little bit of attention to. Which actually brings me to an interesting question that we talked about on the Twitch chat, and I'm very curious. A lot of people are experiencing much more snowbally games in their own solo queue games, whereas the tournament games that we had so far were pretty great. And I argue that I think that there's a significant majority of players that haven't even read the patch notes and therefore haven't adjusted their gameplay at all. And I personally said it's like 70 to 75%. I had people go up as high as 85-90%, and I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Because for me personally, there's a lot of people out there that don't watch Twitch streams, that don't go to Reddit, they just queue up, you know, they start up the client and start playing, and I would argue that a lot of them have not read the patch notes, do not understand what's going on right now, and just play the game as they did before, and therefore fall farther and farther behind. So I'm quite curious actually what people think that watch this on YouTube, for example. So if you have an opinion on that matter, based on your own experience maybe, make sure that you write in the comments and let us know, because I'm highly interested what the ratio there is that people expect. Now with that done, for now we have Rhaegar and Liming added to the mix. It's been mainly Names Are Overrated that played D.Va. We had the Swedish team around Breeze, Whoopi, and Zelia also play D.Va once or twice, but it's mainly Names Are Overrated right now. Not a lot of globals in the matches that we've casted up to now, with the exception again of this one team. But this is obviously only a very small sample size at this point. We haven't had that many matches yet, and players also need some time to adjust to everything. D.Va and Greymane added here in Cursed Hollow, our first map. That leaves us with a final pick. Are we going to get a triple frontline here? Or what adjustments are going to be made by Names Are Overrated? D.Va got nerfed, by the way, a bit. He can still... His Brush Stalker got massively increased on the cooldown side, but he can adjust it and reduce it significantly by picking up globes, health globes. Hammer comes in. First time that we're actually seeing Hammer, so I'm curious what we're going to get with this. Cursed Hollow, map number 1 in the best of 3 series. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, names are overrated. Going up against DDX. The blue team on the left, Team DDX with Shizakid on Junkrat. We got Danazovsky on Varian, Dead Inside on Greymane. Virgil is playing D.Va, and Yoshiro, he's playing Lucio. To the right side, names are overrated. They had a very good series in the winner bracket against the Swedish team. We have the Dark Wolf now on ETC, Sniper on Liming, Coffee is playing Sergeant Hammer, Philadelphia on Dehaka, and Mr. Taiko on Rega. I mean, honestly, every single time that I see him, in my head is like, Philadelphia! Bonus points if you know what that is. I feel old now, but yeah. Some people are going to be like, is he high? I am definitely not, but yeah. People hopefully remember that I can't be the only one. Now, with this, we have immediate siege at the top. And Sergeant Hammer is the... Ooh, that... okay. Yeah, face-checking the bush, maybe not the smartest idea from Lucio today, so that's the end of him. And now that they are attacking here, we could get that Inspire buff pretty soon, and I want to get the minion wave in quickly. And yeah, I am very shocked to see that there's nobody at the top lane. What is the blue team doing? They're going to lose a lot here right now. D.Va is slowly taking this on, but she's alone against 2. Even in the old patch that would have been ill-advised, and they are losing that wall very, very quickly. So, I don't know. There's one tower down and half of the wall destroyed. This is a little bit of a weird one. In the middle of the map, yeah, some counter damage, but not really too much. But you have to be very, very careful. It was already a bad idea to have a mismatch of players in the old patch, but right now if a minion wave is pushing with this and then you get the Inspire buff as a team, that's where things get a bit tricky. Now with all those extra push mechanics, by the way, and dives onto heroes that hide underneath forts being made easier, the one thing that Blizzard introduced to compensate for that a bit and make sure that the games are not ending super fast and we see one push thing after the other is that structures have now more hit points. So structure health has been increased by 12.5%, just as a bit of a side note. So this kind of counterbalances a couple of these things. So as long as you really play a decent macro game, you're going to be totally fine. But if you let your opponent just simply do whatever they want on the side lane, you're going to get absolutely murdered. So macro play is more important than it was before. First of all, the small experience globes being removed, obviously being a big deal here. And then also the Inspire push mechanic that has been added. And I actually like it. I mean, I like that they're trying to get to that point. If that patch is going to accomplish this in the long run or not, that's something that we still have to figure out. It's obviously a bit too early to tell. The games that we had so far in the new patch were honestly pretty amazing. I really liked them. It was a lot of fun. But it's only a very small sample size and players haven't figured things out yet either. This is the first day that we have tournament matches on the patch, and that's always different from what you experience in any solo league that you can sign up for. So we'll see what's going to happen over the next couple of days and weeks, but we had a lot of things that people experimented with, and it was actually quite nice. Blue team has full reign at the bottom, and Shizakid, I mean, same thing. You have to react to that. Dehaka could play a big role at the top lane. I talked a bit about the advantage of having global heroes now. If anything, I'm a bit surprised that Falstad hasn't even been played once yet. I mean, it's been played before. I would have expected to see Falstad at least once or twice. Dehaka is now being matched by Varian, so they're completely giving up on this. But down at the bottom of the map, for example, Sergeant Hammer has lost some ground. Objective hasn't been attacked. And yeah, we'll see what else they can do here right now. So for the time being, it's all about pressure, about trying to push. We have level 7 talents coming in. That means Calamity is now a thing, and obviously more important for Sergeant Hammer. We have Hover Siege mode. That is going to allow Coffee to do a lot more work. And they are threatening Junkrat very aggressively at the bottom of the map. Lucio's coming in too. There's a few heals that will be needed. But yeah, let's see. With I mean, they're still trying to channel here, and honestly, D.Va might... Yeah, D.Va is able to interrupt. But what about Yoshiro here? He's a bit in trouble, and is still able to get away. Oh, that would have been a fun one if he ran straight into the combo coming out of nowhere. Quick attack against D.Va at the top. So they are going for a double attack. And with Greymane being... The problem with Greymane is he has not a lot of hit points left. But if Greymane is able to move in and start to attack structures, that would be fantastic for them. So Limingo's down at the bottom of the map. D.Va at the top, still trying to defend. And this duo could do damage. I mean, the Inspire buff on the minions is already helping them to break that wall down. And if you are going up against D.Va, against Varian and Greymane, then you obviously know that you are getting out pushed one way or another. You're not going to be able to prevent that from happening. So now what we're going to get next is at the bottom of the map, the attack against Coffee. Okay, so far so good. And they're just swooping him around the entire time. But we had some action in the middle of the map as well. And the blue team is currently doing a bit better when it comes to pushings for structures. But this is something that's always iffy. So Varian is now starting to move in. The order attacks is what triggers the Inspire buff. So that's why D.Va comes in and hits those one after another. The tribute, by the way, is still on the map. So this is the first tribute that we're fighting for. And we're now 5 minutes into the game. Nobody has taken a single one. But they are still pushing down here. So it's a big old siege that we're getting from the blue team. And Sergeant Hammer is now trying to control the space here as best as possible. D.Va gets taken out. And this is actually bad news. I mean, it's a 19-second death timer. But the team can push in. They don't have a minion wave with them, though. So that's a bit of a problem. Middle of the map. So some attack happening over here. But that fort top side is already taking a significant amount of damage. Even without the minion wave. And now that we have it push in, this is a full Inspire push. So that fort is gone. Nobody rotating over. That is the end of it. You have an Inspire wave. And you have Greymane. The second one more important than anything else here. They're trying to get damage at the bottom of the map. The whole idea is to go kill for kill. And they are able to take down Junkrat and Lucio. And now they should be able to also maybe not take that fort just yet. They got close. Bosses are up. We also have, in addition to that, the next tribute spawning. They're actually trying to steal the boss at the top lane away. Okay, that's a bit of a fun one. I'm not sure if this is going to be successful. D.Va already sniffed that out, and that is a bit of a stretch. Actually, D.Va is in trouble. Oh! And that's a kill! Greymane! No way! Greymane gets killed. D.Va is able to push him into the boss stun. And that's a kill right there. Okay, that one was wild. That one was wild. Good job by D.Va. I actually thought D.Va would fall. And instead, we now have all of a sudden ETC and Sergeant Hammer both getting eliminated. So, while the Greymane... Oh my god, look at that push here. Camp, 3 heroes, and a double wave with Inspire. Honestly, if I was them, I would push this further. You have a double wave with Inspire. Break that wall. They could have done that for sure. The Doggo has decided that he's still not done with bosses, so he moves down to the bottom of the map in order to try and take this one down at least. But yeah, interesting one. 8 minutes in, we have 9 kills and both teams on level 12.5. Red team is trying to get their own boss at the top. Yeah, I mean, Sergeant Hammer doesn't really care about that route too much. So she's going to be fine. And down at the bottom of the map, they have claimed this, of course, as well, which might take that. I mean, honestly, this is likely going to be the end of the fort. If they are not sending anybody down, then it's going to get destroyed 100% if D.Va pushes with it. And Virgil, yeah, lets it slide. Doesn't hit the buff. Could have hit it once, I guess, before rotating towards the top. Split pushes, when your opponent doesn't react to you, are pretty powerful. I think they should have tried to interrupt at the top and just simply push with D.Va at the bottom of the map. That would have probably done wonders for them, if the red team doesn't react to it. But as it stands right now, the boss at the top is slowly going to get defeated here. They're trying to take the minion wave out too with the help of Greymane. Nice zoning with D.Va, so they keep them away from the tribute for as long as possible. And the topside fort is destroyed, but the boss is really low, and the fort at the bottom of the map has already fallen. So both of the bosses with some significant amount of damage. But this one is still alive and kicking down here. Not a lot, but still there. Then again, Danozovsky, wow, he survives. Varian is still alive. Channel has happened, and the curse against the blue team. Well done by Names Are Overrated. They get that curse, they're behind the experience now, but they are cursing the opponent, and this could allow them to do some significant damage right now. Okay, so with that, we have still pressure through the middle, and Dehaka is now coming in, and this is exactly what I want to see from teams a lot more, that once that they have the opportunity to push like this, that they're going to split heroes onto the lanes. Greymin is now coming and is attempting to deal with it, but while we're having the majority of the red team at the top lane and pushing for the key ball, we have still some action in the middle where Dehaka needs to be careful that he doesn't get taken out because he's up against 2. But with the minion wave now also arriving at the top, the red team can get significant damage done. Greymane eliminated. That's bad news. Running straight into the Li Ming combo. And more damage done over here as we speak. So a couple more auto attacks. Yep, there we go. They take the minions out. They go for the fort. Bot lane is also getting attacked. And that's another problem that the blue team has to deal with. Shizakid is the one that is trying to eliminate those waves. But this is the end of the fort in the middle. So first objective, 3 tributes with ease claimed by Names Are Overrated. And they get value here. Bit of an idea here also on how the experience gains are now differing. Again, very important to keep an eye out for the minion experience with the changes that we now had in the patch. So this is where the blue team gets the majority of their lead. They are a level ahead by now. And a lot of this comes from minion experience. Not all of it. We have also mercenary experience where they're doing it a bit better. But it's more or less offset by the hero experience advantage that we are seeing for Names Are Overrated. So just kind of explains a bit on where this gap comes from and how the blue team was able to get there. And essentially, even with the curse that we saw for the team on the right side of the map, we're now in a spot where both teams do not have outer structures anymore. So that's basically the only structural difference between them. And then of course on top of that you have that lead in XP. But right now, Dehaka, he's at the top. Philadelphia has also ways to be careful when he uses his Brush Stalker. Again, the cooldown increase was pretty significant for Dehaka. It's one of the big problems. Well, problems is maybe exaggerating a little bit too much for Dehaka. But yeah, Brush Stalker cooldown got increased from 75 seconds to 240 seconds, but you now get cooldown reduction every single time when you pick a Regeneration Glow buff. The cooldown gets reduced by 40 seconds, so as long as you do something on that side lane and get value there, you get quite a lot. Apex Predator cooldown reduction has been increased from 50 to 120 seconds. So that's another change. But he's the hero that was changed the most, I would argue. Or well, the meta hero that got changed the most, let's put it like that. Now, with all that said and done, we now have also the little trap here by the blue team. That might actually work out for them. They're baiting with D.Va. There's the rotation. And the mosh pit of ETC! Oh my god, against 4 heroes. But Rhaegar dies after Lucio gets destroyed and then ETC falls. So while they got baited into a mosh pit that essentially caught the entire team, the blue team still walks away with an advantage. The mosh was actually fantastic, but they just didn't have the damage output there to get more kills. And then all of a sudden, you just have the blue team still getting the lead in kills and getting ahead there. But damn, that could have been an utter disaster. Just imagine for 1 second how insane that would have been if they unleash everything and Li Ming all of a sudden gets reset after reset and they're killing the entire team there. Blue team would have lost so much ground. Now we have the boss attack at the top. D.Va is pushing in the middle a little bit. Junkrat is already prepping the bot lane up. Obviously, both of the teams are making moves for their own camp. Should probably turn out. The minions spawn every 30 seconds now on the dot. So on the minute and the half minutes is when the minion waves spawn every 30 seconds. Is interesting for a couple of heroes, specifically when we're talking about somebody like, I don't know, Ragnaros with Lava Wave, that you can time that properly. That was changed also in the patch. It's one of the smaller changes, but still noteworthy. So if you were unsure about the minion spawn timing, now it's every 30 seconds on the full minute and a half minute. Bot lane pressure with the boss. Greymin is the one defending at the top. And yeah, he's getting a lot there. This is more dangerous for, I would argue, the red team at the bot lane. But D.Va is now also splitting off into the middle. So she's trying to go and get some extra split push value for the team and also more experience because they're closing in on level 20. And that would help them a ton. Down at the bottom of the map, they're opening this up. ETC, careful. Gets hit by the taunt, but is still fine. The keep, that's getting hit too. And so does, oh my god, so does good old Sergeant Hammer. And yeah, gets rooted as well. Poor Sergeant Hammer. Stunned, rooted, hit hard, but still surviving all of it. Now here comes the mosh again, and this time they kill Lucio right away. The mosh pits that we're getting from him are pretty strong. But there's a level 20 against them. It's actually kind of wild that names are overrated. It's just jumping into that fight and is taking them out so easily considering that there's a Storm Talon advantage. But now Varian is done, and that's 9 kills to 6 now. So names are overrated. They are doing work. And they are trying to bring themselves back here. They also have not gone for the tribute. I'm not quite sure if that was intentional or not. Dehaka's now going back. He can obviously go towards the top then, but I think the goal was always to go straight up for the keep. So that's where they're headed now. Dehaka is getting the tribute for them, so it's a tribute on each side. And this is going to result in the keep getting destroyed. At least it should be. Sergeant Hammer is working the auto attacks in. And yep, this keep falls. This keep is down. Bottom of the map, Dehaka still taking at least the catapults out. Both teams now on level 20. That gives us Rhaegar with the second Ancestral. So it's going to grab that. We have Repulsion in. And on top of that, we're now getting the Ultra Capacitors for Sergeant Hammer. 6 kills to 9. And in the meantime, Mr. Tycho and the Dark Wolf going for the next set of camps. We're 16 minutes into the game now. And yeah, we'll see how they're playing around the next tribute. Currently, it feels like the blue team doesn't even care about it. And just give it up. So it's going to be a freebie for names are overrated. Then you're going to get this one without even having to play for it. There's a bit of aggression at the bottom of the map as they're trying to go for Dehaka. Big gang coming in, and they're going to get that kill one way or another. D.Va was still sitting in the middle, but that's a big one. Tribute has indeed been claimed by names are overrated, but now they have to rush back in order to defend, because this is going to be a big push. D.Va is still active in the middle, but they're already starting to attack right here, and the minion wave is coming. So is D.Va. It's a 5 versus 4 as they're attempting to push. Huge gap, by the way, in minion experience. Insane gap. 10k. The gap in minion experience between the two teams. DDX is doing way better with lane control, despite the fact that it is the red team that is running Dehaka. So right now, this is where the first keep might fall. It's a little bit about the minions that are coming in and trying to assist though, and with Sergeant Hammer and the burst that we're getting from heroes like, yeah, well, or like this. I was trying to hype up Li Ming a little bit and what she can do, but if you are willing to sacrifice the BFG there to just take the minion wave out, then obviously that's a different story. Catapults are on the core. Dehaka could still play a role there later, but Junko just moves in and takes the entire thing down with a couple of hits. Easy cut guy right there. And we have another tribute up, and since the blue team was willing to give up one earlier, that means that now the curse is threatened once again. Junker is here. D.Va could try and sneak this one. Could actually successfully sneak this one. Yeah, they're gonna get into range. Sergeant Hammer is out. Alright, yeah, Li Ming is gonna be there for an interrupt. And not even only her, it's Dehaka that came in at the side. Top lane with catapults is getting pressure, but now 18 minutes in. So catapults, they start to hurt a little bit. Damage output in the game, 75,000 for Sergeant Hammer. 53,000 for Junkrat. Catapults again, soon on the core. So it's not going to end the game, but it could potentially damage the core a little bit, and very likely will. It's only one catapult so far. That's how it starts. Actually, it's two, my bad. And now, the explosion! And Li Ming is dead as Greymane came in from behind and took out both of them. Rhaegar and Li Ming. Junkrat, he got also killed, but still, this is a 4 versus 3. With a nice mosh, they're able to take down Greymane, and all of a sudden the damage healers are gone. Yeah, and Sergeant Hammer is still happily getting one hit in after another. Now the blue team is in some serious trouble. This is going to be a curse. And the only question is, how are names overrated going to try and take advantage of it? You could have tried to go for a boss, push with boss for core, or just try and play it out that way. But that curse is going to hit them one way or another. There's the lick. ETC is going to come in with a slide in a moment. And then they're going to take down Varian, I suppose. Actually, they might not be able to. There it is, the body block, and then Sergeant Hammer gets the kill. Okay, so they're going to get that curse. But how are they going to try and end the game with it? Because now we're going to have multiple heroes back. And they go for the boss. They actually go for the boss. And I'm not sure if this is a little bit too much, honestly. Well, not really. The entire team is now back. So they're going to go boss plus curse. This is the play here. The entire team is back. They're all ready. Varian is still missing for another 30 seconds. They need to start that channel, of course. But the Haka is now back. And there's little that the blue team can do. They can try and interrupt this a bit when it happens, but they're already too late because the Dark Wolf has started the channel, and there it is. Curse is ready, boss is taken. The face check on the push! Can they get a kill? And the answer is no! The boss with a stun! Oh, and Rhaegar is still alive. Greymane is gone. D.Va is dead. Bye-bye, Lucio. Goodbye, Chromie. Sorry, goodbye. Yeah, you too. Goodbye, D.Va. Bye-bye. And that's game. Jungle is still alive for a little bit longer. 15 kills, 2-9. Names are overrated with some big plays in this series now, in this game. And on map number 1, they're going to be successful. Well done. They were trapping. DDX, they had a good thought there. They were trapping. The face check actually happens. But the fight still didn't work out in their favor. Now the keep in the middle is destroyed. Not that it matters anymore. It is the core that's falling here. And the red team takes the lead in this best of 3. Nicely done. GG. And well played. Nicely done by NAO. We're going to head in game number 2 in a second. Guys, if you enjoy the content, if you like the coverage here, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really helps to spread the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past and might rejoin the game. So spread the love a little bit, help to promote the games here, like and subscribe, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the series. Names are overrated are in the lead, so let's go everybody. We have our 1-0 for the red team, and of course an opportunity now to close out the series and move on to the losers bracket, because this is actually going to be interesting. Coming into this, DDX was definitely... Okay, let's rephrase this a little bit. Coming into this, names are overrated with a total underdog. And now they are one map win away from eliminating DDX from the group and advancing to the next round. So we'll see if they can pull that off. That said, when they played in the winner bracket against the Swedes, they won their first map and then continued to lose in the remaining 2. That dropped them into the lower bracket. So can they pull it off? Time will tell. We're going to Towers of Doom now. Tyrael gets banned. This starts to be a bit of a thing, by the way, against names are overrated. We've already seen that the Swedish team around Whoopi, Breeze, and Zelia had adjusted accordingly. But, yeah. I'm heavily intrigued to see what's going to happen now here on Towers of Doom. We've seen Asmodan played in the... Was it the previous match? It wasn't the winner bracket, at least. Asmodan was played by Dino's team, by Team Rip. And they did exceptionally well with him. I mean, not only was Asmodan hugely impactful for the game, but also the team fights that we had around it were fantastic. But Asmodan's ability with the new Inspire buff on minions when he comes in on a structure, and then also, you know, just dish out his own damage, put his trade into play, drop his ult, Demonic Invasion, he just can burn structures down mega quickly if the opponent doesn't react. Now, I would assume that as all of this continues, teams are going to do better and better to react to something like that. But right now, you can still hit them, sometimes at least, when they are not quite aware yet or don't really know what to expect, you know? So, we get Rhaegar as a starting choice again for DDX. There's no draft rules in this tournament. As I said, this is the final best of 3. After this, we're moving into best of 5s. And, yeah, next 2 picks. Blaze. Okay, we're getting Blaze for the top lane. And we get Hanzo. Fairly traditional opening here. Nothing Nothing crazy. Which is a little bit of a shame, because you had games previously where both Probiers and Vikings were banned out. So, would love either one of them. Muradin, Genji. Genji is an interesting one right now, because with all the mobility that he has and how quickly he can traverse between lanes, if you have a minion wave pushing into structures on any lane, Genji can very quickly come in, get some auto attacks on structures, and then trigger the Inspire buff for the minion wave. And even if he then right away moves back out, it still increases the damage output a bit. So we've seen like an approach to that played out before. Would be cool if teams would focus on that even further and see if they can use Genji. So through that also as a tool that is having a much bigger impact on the macro level that he already does. Not only somebody that moves between lanes to attack heroes themselves. So it could be interesting. Again, just spitballing a bit. D.Va gets banned out and so does ETC. So the two of them, the last ones to be banned out for map number 2. And the final 2 picks for the red team. Now, what's it going to be? Brightwing, okay. Brightwing and Johanna. So we have our global. We don't get D.Va, but we have at least a global that could theoretically attempt to take advantage of the Inspire buff mechanic. And of course helps also with soak on the experience. But anything crazy from DDX? Right now, with Genji, I mean, there's several things that you could pair with him. There's the birdie. Been talking about Falstad. Been talking about Falstad a lot. Danozovsky locks it in for the team. Very curious to see how much of an impact Falstad is now going to have in the context of the recent patch. Yeah, that's going to be interesting for sure. Now, on the other side, what are we getting for the final choice? Triple frontline? We get Sergeant Hammer again. Guys, they're going for Hammer once more. They had success with Sergeant Hammer on Cursed Hollow. Now they're playing Sergeant Hammer on Towers of Doom. So let's see if it works out again for Names Are Overrated. Match point for the red team. DDX against Names Are Overrated on Towers. Party time. DDX starting over on the left side. Well, they got a big job ahead of them. They have to win 2 in a row now if they want to have a chance here to redeem themselves a little bit for the loss in the winner bracket and move on to the next round of the losers bracket here to continue that run. We have Shizakir on Muradin now. Falster gets played by Yoshiro. Virgil on D.Va. Danozovsky is playing Rhaegar. And Genji gets played by Dead Inside. Over on the right side of the map, Names Are Overrated with the Dark Wolf on Johanna. We got Philadelphia on Blaze. Sniper on Hanzo. Coffee is playing Sergeant Hammer. And Mr. Tycho is on Brightwing. Alright. Is Sergeant Hammer going to be successful again here? Already an adjustment on level 1 for Rhaegar, going for Stormcaller. And Falstad, he's still the one that I'm having a very close look at, because I could totally see Falstad having a big impact with pushes, with him trying to empower minions, and just generally also soaking experience for the team. But for now, at the bottom of the map, or the rotation doesn't really do too much yet. Dark Wolf is going to be the only one for now, so they're trying to sniff this out a bit. This is actually part of what we're seeing right now. This is because of the reduction in spawn time for the mercenary camps. Actually, it's a little bit phrased the wrong way. The spawn time hasn't been reduced, but what has been reduced is when they have their initial spawn. Down from a minute to 30 seconds, and damn, that's a double camp right there. Okay, not only do they go for their camp, but they were immediately able to also take the opponents. This, on the other hand, is already triggering the Inspire buff at the top, and DDX is getting structure value here. So it's a little bit of an interesting start into the game. On the one hand, we have 2 mercenary camps claimed by Names Are Overrated at a potential damage that is going to be done, or could be done, at the bottom of the map with those structures. On the other hand, Blaze was struggling a bit against the opponent, since they had 2 heroes on the mid and top lane, whereas Blaze was rotating all alone. But this took out a tower, it took out the gates, so they're looking good there. Sniper's a bit low, but he's not the only one. Sergeant Hammer is in a perfect spot to dish out damage, and they are able to push them back again and take an early level 4 talent. So this is a pretty good start. Very, very nice start for them right now. And, well, that tower will likely fall too, especially now that the next minion wave is coming in. So, already we have the pressure. I mean, damn son, this is like 2 minutes in and we're already pressuring for the first bell tower. What the hell? So, yep. Blaze might be in a bit of trouble here. With Genji being at the top, they're obviously hoping to use the numbers advantage at the top half of the map to get the Inspire buff on the minions. But this is still getting a little bit crazy. Genji gets actually killed. What? Philadelphia gets pinged, and rightfully so. What kind of boss move is that? That should not have happened in any universe. You're getting doubled by the opponent, nearly die, and then you turn around, kill Genji, and win? This is disastrous for DDX. I mean, again, this is early game, so the impact is currently a bit low. But this is fantastic for names are overrated and is raising some serious questions around DDX and how they're going to do here. Brightwing is attempting to channel the top right altar, but will be interrupted by Genji for a while. The fight is already centering more or less down at the bottom of the map around the third altar. Blue team is doing a little bit better now with the global mobility. And Genji, of course, is bringing a lot of mobility in himself. So while he gets pressured back, the bottom of the map, that fight is still ongoing. And Genji is now trying to help out too. So the shots are fired. Sergeant Hammer doesn't have mobility yet. Stormbolt misses. Coffee is alive. They're trying to turn on a Muradin. He might be in trouble. Is there jet propulsion for Philadelphia? And the answer is no. Maybe they can hit another one. That cooldown should be back in just a moment. And if they can get Rega with it, that would help too. But level 7 isn't ready yet. And that altar is still in play. Philadelphia goes down though. And even Sergeant Hammer might be in trouble. Hanzo has not joined that. Oh, okay, he gets out. But Brightwing dodging nearly everything, but it's not enough. It's still a kill. But Genji went too deep and dies too. They still get the second altar. So now we have 2 kills to 2. Advantage on core points for DDX. Forgotten are the times when they lost both of the mercenary camps. But we have level 7 now. So Sergeant Hammer is going to start to pressure. All the way top. Philadelphia still holding on to the wave and is getting the XP here for the team. They lost part of the wall at least. And down at the bottom of the map, the blue team is now trying to repay them for the earlier steal and take the pumpkins away. But the red team is paying attention to it. So right now, the damage at the bottom of the map... I mean, for Sergeant Hammer, it's going to be much easier right now. Damage at the bot lane from the red team should significantly increase. We still have this little interplay between Genji and D.Va up at the top lane. Seems like Overwatch heroes have to stick together. That seems to be the general consensus between them. But we get, obviously, stacks in slowly and steadily too. Rhaegar's currently sitting at 58 for a Stormcaller. Very even experience between the teams. And, yeah, Blaze is still going up against 2. So they maintain that strategy. And Blaze is having a tough time here. The 4-man for the red team needs to get value or this is a problem. And so far, they've been able to pull that off. So here comes the Inspire buff again. They're trying to burn the minions down as quickly as they can. But with the pumpkins now crushing in too, that's the end of the bottom bell tower. So kudos to the red team. Now, as a little bit of a side note, the one thing that we already figured out the last time that Towers of Doom was played is that while, yes, it is definitely easier with certain push comps to take those bell towers, it's also much easier for the opponent to retake them. So, unless you are willing to sit on that... Oh, arrow, okay. Early level 10, trying to use that. 5 shots fired, by the way. But unless you are able to really commit to defending the bell tower, you might not hold on to it for long. But it already gave value to them. Blessed shield. Nice, Ancestral. After that blessed... Oh, he's still gonna die. Muradin. What? How is he not dead? There it is. But they got a kill on Hanzo as well. And, well, Muradin is gone too. So that's 2 heroes against 1. There's the explosion from D.Va. They're trying to get some value there. And it is Blaze that falls. 5 kills to 3. The blue team with value. And now they can, of course, try and retake the bell tower at the bottom left. There's not enough survivors here to do anything about it. And this is where Falstad gets value. This is exactly what I talked about the entire day when we were talking about drafts. Even if he doesn't get that bell tower, just him being there for, I don't know, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, pushing with this. Look how much damage this already does. Yoshiro comes in, gets the attacks, they're bringing in Blaze, and he has done so much damage here. He even gets the entire bell tower now. So the bell tower gets taken. Falstad, a little bit in trouble. Could also just like Z out if he needed to. Stun was already used. So they defended the bell tower at the bottom of the map. But that's big. That's exactly the kind of play that I would expect from any global to be executed time and time again. Falstad in particular. It's really surprising to me that Falstad was not drafted more today. I'm not saying he needs to be part of every single game, but I would have expected him to be played a bit more than that. Now we'll see if players adjust, if this is actually going to be a thing. Blaze, of course, has now the advantage of pushing this out. Usually it's most of the bot lane that you're trying to hold on, but Blaze is having an easier time now retaking the bell tower at the top, which is going to give them a bit of an advantage again. Bottom left has, by the way, been reclaimed by DDX. Blaze now going for the channel, so only going to be 3 shots fired. So all in all, it's still DDX that is ahead. 28 to 27 points on the core, and more importantly, ahead in experience as well. So names are overrated, again. Still with a lot of potential here. If they can really unleash this fully, it's a different question. And as usual, with the new patch, bit of a look at what the experience brings. Mainly the advantage to the kills, of course. Alright, next to here, Blaze is retaking the top now. And down at the bottom of the map, it's a full 5 versus 4. That's a problem. If you 5-man, you need to get value. Blaze is getting free value at the top right now and will also get more experience for the team. So the longer this 5-man lasts at the bottom of the map, the worse it gets for DDX. They have to split heroes away from that 5-man, and they're doing it now with D.Va, who already moved towards the top. Blaze is getting himself another minion wave, and all the way at the top, they're now going to get the attack in, and the bell tower will be reclaimed. So yeah, no problem for him. Philadelphia takes it. They were trying to sneak in, but he was aware of that. Then face checks the bush a second later, has to bunker up and will be able to get out, but that was of course another cooldown that needed to be burned. Single altar at the bottom of the map now. And Falstad can now stick onto that top lane longer, especially with Genji. So this is a really nice camp to get at this point. It's going to help Falstad to reclaim the bell tower at the top, and there's a very good chance that they're going to be able to do that, especially with Genji already saying hello here. So the red team, they are sending Blaze in to deal with the situation. Falstad is already burning the minion wave down very, very quickly, and now it's up to Blaze to deal with the next one. But down here, it's a double channel as D.Va comes in. He's not the only one attempting to interrupt. Sergeant Hammer is the one with all the damage right now. Is to be careful. D.Va comes in. Coffee. The attack from Genji, and Brightwing to the rescue as they're trying to turn it again. Blaze on his way down to the bottom of the map as Falstad has now also joined the blue team. It's getting chunked down heavily though. But they need to Oh, the arrow! Only connecting with D.Va, and the gust is instantly used. But Blaze is now there. They're trying to channel again. Sergeant Hammer with all the damage that they can muster. And currently Hammer is looking at a solid 33,000 damage. Not quite on the same level as Hanzo with the 40k that he brings. But they get the channel, and now for the first time in the game, I believe, we have the red team in the lead on core points. First time, right there. So another camper to be claimed, but it's bell tower problems that they have at the top. And the blue team, are they going to go? Yes, they are going for the boss. Okay. This could cost them... Oh, they are super fast on this one. It could still cost them the bot lane bell tower though. And that's an important one. 4 shots are being fired. Blaze has to try and take the top bell tower. He's actually letting this fall first. Blaze is currently trying to make sure that they're getting the bell tower back, because he realizes they're going to lose it anyway at some point. Coffee, Stormbolt, bye-bye Sergeant Hammer, and Jojo is dead too. Yep, DDX with some massive plays right now. They have bell tower control again, and to make matters worse, they're going to extend it further by claiming the bell tower at the bot lane as well. So if they are able to get the one in the middle, then we might actually see them claim barrage value. And yeah, it's a little bit less likely, I guess, but for now, Pumpkins are getting attacked again. Top side, this one is going to be reclaimed, but there's a lot of work to be done on the side of names are overrated before they have better control of this. If you look down at the mid lane, then this one is likely going to be claimed now as well, even if they have to retreat a little bit early. So it's just an exchange. It's still going to be 6 bell towers to 2, and we have a triple altar phase coming up, so this is disastrous. Shiza Kid even trying to damage this a bit further, and the bottom bell tower will be taken, oh, sorry, the bottom altar will be taken 100% by Yoshiro. Nobody's even trying to interrupt this. And then it comes down to what's going on at the top left. That's where D.Va is getting a free channel, so that's 12 shots fired. And they try to get a kill on Blaze, but the main goal is to escort the Pumpkins in. 11 points against 22 right now. Yeah, and D.Va on their way towards the top. Genji is trying to make sure that they're not getting the spell tower too quickly, because if they can help D.Va to take the one at the top, then they might be able to land a few more shots through the barrage itself. So that's the whole game plan here. And while all of this is playing out, while we see all of that pressure around bell towers and all of this action and all of that macro play here, we also have that consistent lead and experience for DDX. So big damage from D.Va again, that damaging this quite significantly. The red team at least able to reclaim the bell tower in the middle, but the pressure is still on and need to break through it by getting kills. And Rega escapes. Rega was the target and he's able to get out. Genji and D.Va still pushing the lanes. D.Va could have stayed actually, they've just retaken it, so nothing that she lost there. Pumpkins at the top are about to be taken now too. And they are instantly pushing for the bell tower again, and this one's lost. The good news is that the red team is now in a position where they can at least reclaim what they have at the bottom of the map. Nice chunk of experience that comes with it, of course, as well. But we are going to see the same thing happening at the top now too. So, yeah. Tough luck. So, it is currently a 5 versus 3 situation. Blaze is moving towards the top. They're stopping the Pumpkins. Trying to take those out first. Damage output, Genji 31,000, Falstad 30,000. Both of them pretty respectable numbers here. But it's the macro play that currently wins DDX the game. To be fair, they're ahead in macro, they're ahead in kills, they're pretty much ahead in every single aspect of the game right now. It's a really solid map from them. But it could change. It's all about what happens when we have the red team committing to a full 5-man if they can get kills here. But Hanzo gets out, Brightwing gets killed, and Falstad and the rest of the blue team, they're now just going in to kill everything in their sight. They're dropping 3 heroes immediately. All of them destroyed within seconds. Level 20 kicks in. That's the end of the entire team. Full 5-man team wipe. And this is game. This is game. Falstad is already starting with the channel. They're taking the bell tower at the bottom of the map. It's only 5 shots fired. Didn't even go for the 6, but it doesn't matter because they're going to get the entire barrage now. And the 6 shots, that's all that they need here. 6 bell towers, and that is a tie in the series. Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to the final map of the best of 3. As Towers of Doom goes to DDX. GG. Coming up next, we have game number 3 for you guys. Before we go, a big shout out to everybody that is supporting the channel on patreon.com/Khaldor. Really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you very, very much. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support our efforts to keep the Heroes of the Storm esports scene live with all of the events and tournaments that we're hosting, then please consider to check out patreon.com/Khaldor and support the channel there. It's the best way to support all of the things that we're currently doing for the scene and plan to do in the future. With that being said, enjoy the next game of the series. Sergeant Hammer got beaten, everybody! So, we're heading to Infernal Shrines, our final map in this series. The winner moves on to the next round in the loser's bracket. And the loser is eliminated from the group. So, as we're heading into our map, let's see what we're going to get here. First pick, first ban goes over to DDX. Which means that names are overrated have decided that they prioritize the map choice more than anything else. So Maiev gets banned. I honestly wonder if they're banning out Sergeant Hammer. I don't think it's going to happen on the second ban. I'm talking DDX here. But if they ban Sergeant Hammer, it could happen on the third. Now that it's been played twice, could happen. First Tyrael. That's the first thing that they're going to get rid of. And yeah. This might also be the map where you can throw in a couple of surprises and see if there's maybe a hero that you can bust out. I was for a long time asking myself is maybe on Towers of Doom we're gonna get a hero like Asmodan again. And by the way, still very, I mean not surprised, but I'm pretty happy about the impact that Falstad had. I would assume that we're gonna get globals more. Or at least someone like Falstad, if it fits into the composition, you don't want to force it all the time. But Falstad was pretty powerful there. Just being able to jump onto lanes, push into structures a little bit, and then of course get through the normal damage and utility that we expect from Falstad, even in the old environment. That was quite nice. But for now, we got Jojo in as our first pick for Infernal Shrines, already a big presence on the shrines themselves. Infernal Shrines has been changed as a map, by the way, so we've had the biggest change probably is Punishers cannot be baited over walls anymore. That was previously the case. If the gate is gone, the Punisher will jump in. But if the gate is still standing, the Punisher does not get baited over like it did previously. For Wood League, that doesn't change anything. There's too many players that have to the day not even learned how to bait a Punisher over the wall in the first place, and now they will never have to. They made the smart choice. But on this level of play, this definitely makes a difference. Normally it means that your first objectives are a bit more impactful, generally. We get Blaze and we get ETC. Alright. Could go for a triple front line again. And D.Va once more. So Virgil has been playing his D.Va for a long time. That's not really a shock or anything. But still heavily committed to it. So Jojo, D.Va. There's also with the explosion, there's a lot of control that you can take over the shrine, at least for a limited amount of time. Not even speaking about the just minions that you get alone. There's more changes to Infernal Shrines, but honestly, all of the changes that we have on Infernal Shrines right now, outside of the Punisher jump, is just addressing the minions, the shrine minions, the skeletons there. Do a little bit more damage, a little bit faster or whatever, take a bit less damage from AoE attacks, a bit more from auto attacks, stuff like that. Whatever. Not really that big of a deal. Might slightly impact on certain levels what heroes you choose, but yeah. The main thing is really the Punisher jump. You get more out of the objective. And that seems like a theme for a lot of the map changes. The Garden Terrace, for example, got just straight up buffed. And scale also more heavily into the late game now. And we've seen some other objectives buffed too. Tonga Hanamura here, I'm not quite sure if that means that the map is now potentially something we might see in competitive play. We're going to figure that out as we go. But it's something where Blizzard has said, okay, we need to adjust a few of these things. If anything, you could argue they fell short on some. There's Falstad again. Okay, so not only do we get Falstad, but we also get Sergeant Hammer, this time taken by DDX. That's one of the reasons, I guess, why they didn't ban him. And we have Karazim as a pick for names are overrated. Okay, I'm kind of intrigued here. Those are a few picks that I did not expect. We have still a couple of StarCraft heroes with Tigers going up against Sergeant Hammer now, but Falstad has given a lot of value earlier, and we could see a similar performance now in this game. That paired off with Sergeant Hammer and the space that it can create is interesting, and we get Zagara again. Alright. So, ladies and gentlemen, match point. DDX is going up against names are overrated, and we're going to Infernal Shrines. DDX made it happen. They forced game number 3, and now the big question is, of course, if from here on out they're going to be able to go further. Are they able to win the series here and claim victory, move on to the next round? I mean, that's honestly the big one. It was so far a really nice effort from Names Are Overrated, but they actually have to properly commit and be able to win the series if they want to have a proper shot. So we're going to check that out now. Over on the left side, Shizaki on Jana, Virgil on D.Va. We're getting Yoshiro on Falstad again, Dead Inside on Sergeant Hammer, and Danazovsky on Rega, as the red team is playing with Names Are Overrated on, well, with Dark Wolf and ETC, Snipe on Zagara, Coffee playing Tychus, Mr. Tycho on Karazim, and Philadelphia is playing ETC, Blaze. So, the interesting part is that when we have for Zagara instantly Infest taken, this is something that Dainu did in the winner bracket series. And it allows Zagara to get an enormous amount of damage through if they are able to properly go onto the lanes. So that's the big question right now. Are they going to be able to get value out of Zagara as the game continues, or is she going to fall victim to attacks from Falstad and others that take her down, squishy as she is? ETC currently at the bottom of the map. Karazim on level 1 as usual with Iron Fists, the only real talent that matters for that hero on level 1. And an attempt to go for the camp. Power slide, careful. Uh-oh, Tychus. Yep, the doggy comes in. Rega gets the hit, that's a kill. And the blue team is going to take the camp, and they might even be able to get another kill here. Philadelphia's in trouble, moves away with 0 HP and actually survives. Okay, well done. Falstad is instantly on his way towards the top lane and gets a kill on Zagara. So, yep, that's how you do it, right there. So that's 2 kills to 0 now for DDX, and honestly, if you are the red team, then this is probably you already start worrying. This is a huge problem for them. Because the big issue is really that the entire time it was them doing well in most of the games, and now all of a sudden they are starting to fall apart again, and it's all happening in the context of them having an initial lead in the series and then losing control slowly. And this is exactly what's going on here right now. So it could get a little bit tricky for them. We'll see how far this goes, but at this point, the early game at least is not really too great. Now, this is, again, only early game. You can always bring this back. But DDX is coming out swinging. They're essentially continuing where they left off on the previous one. And this is just, all in all, a bad omen for the red team. But they might be able to bring it back. So we're going to have a look on that. Currently, big attack happening in the middle. Sorry, at the bot lane. Falstad is still sitting topside, gathering additional experience for the team, and is now met by Blaze. But the push continues, and we have, of course, Infest kicking in, and they have on top of that now also the Inspire mechanic. So a little bit more damage done as Sniper slowly moving out. Coffee is also trying to hard the way, but they gotta be a bit more careful than that, because Shizakid moved in, but might have gone a little bit too deep on this. Nearly dying. But now it's ETC that is in trouble, and Falstad says hello to help out and is able to take down ETC with Rega. The objective is, by the way, up. So that's where we currently have D.Va playing that out and getting pretty decent value on the first objective here. So this is a little bit weird, because if the red team doesn't make a big play soon, then they are going to be in a disastrous spot. They're losing just too many things. They're simply losing too much ground in too many areas. They're losing out on the objective. We have 34 stacks towards the blue team. Camps are being claimed. They're down in experience. They're down in kills. They haven't gotten a single kill yet, to tell you the truth. There's a talent advantage too, and it's getting a little bit difficult here. Now, the Punisher can't be baited over the wall anymore, so this is already doing damage right in front of it. But just generally speaking, when you're looking at the experience difference, for example, minion experience lead, hero experience lead, and now they're starting to take structures down. There's no minion waves pushing in with this. This is the good news for the red team. The bad news is that down at the bottom of the map, there's a pretty heavy push incoming from DDX as they're attempting to leverage Sergeant Hammer as best as they can. So they split out onto all of the lanes, with Falstad using his global abilities to apply even more pressure against names are overrated. And they're now down an entire level. Top side with only a 1-hero push, not too much has fallen here, but the wall is basically destroyed. Tower not gone, but if you look at it the wrong way, it's just going to crumble. So names are overrated. They got to stabilize a little bit here. They got to get their act together. They are definitely still in a position where they can turn this around. With level 10, they're going to get some blow-up potential, always assuming that we're going to get the 7-sided strike. If you isolate a target properly, you can unleash quickly. You have also, of course, some tools around Zagara, around ETC, but we'll see how this goes. On level 7, we get Vicious Acid, and we also have the Relentless Soldier now for Tychus. They try to get themselves a few more camp, and honestly, they're not too far behind anymore, so they're starting to catch up a little bit. I think they would probably feel a bit more confident if they at least got one kill. And they were trying to make that happen against Sergeant Hammer, which didn't work out because the jet propulsion did not connect. Now it's Zagara that's in trouble, but she is able to get away. Problem is, nobody's dealing with this. And this could be where it gets difficult now. Minion wave. That fort is not attacking the minions at all. Blaze is now moving towards the top, but here comes the Inspire buff. Blaze is dealing with it, but we have the same happening in the middle of the map as Falstad is playing it off against ETC. And down at the bot lane, it's Sergeant Hammer with that level 7 talent and level 10 that they now have. That is starting to push for it too. Zagara is attempting to help out wherever she can, but Falstad moves in. And they are not afraid of that fort anymore because, again, the target priority doesn't shift. And the heroes are not being defended immediately by it. So that's the end of Tychus. Now the rest of the team is getting attacked. He gets a big dive underneath the fort. Zagara is in trouble. Falstad has fallen though. Finally the first kill for Names Are Overrated. But Zagara goes down. They have level 10. And we get more. And we get the Palm. They actually went for Divine Palm here. Blaze is pushing at the top. Doesn't have too many minions to assist him here. And the fort falling at the bottom of the map now means that they have, more wiggle room here. Next objective is spawning in the middle of the map. So right now it's 23,000 damage for Zagara. She's top damage in the game, even higher than Sergeant Hammer, who's sitting at 22,000 for the blue team. But this heavy pushing that we see on the lanes and the macro approach that we're getting from DDX is really working. Falstad is giving lots of value as well. They're taking more camps now too. And you can really see it reflected also in the stats here. And Mercenaries, this is where Names Are Overrated a little bit better. Another hero dying for the blue team, so that's good news for the team in red. Maybe even a Punisher as a result. I mean, Jojo's down for 16 more seconds. That should give them a very significant lead here. We'll see if it comes to that. Sergeant Hammer is still pushing at the top. Zagara is immediately there trying to match that. And has, of course, Infest still up. So is able to burn through these waves a little bit faster and basically stop Sergeant Hammer and Rhaegar. But they're also trying to get that slide. Hammer saw that coming and moved out. Level 13 advantage for DDX now. The gap can still be closed, but look how heavily they are ahead now on the objective at least. So it would be a bit of a miracle if this wouldn't be taken by Names Are Overrated. Falstad pushed out the bot lane though. And this is one of those things that is now much more dangerous in the new patch, which is also why Blaze immediately reacts to it. But this one is going to be taken. The only reason why they're attempting to delay it slightly is because they want level 13, so that they have even talents. There's not going to be a bait over the wall. Here comes also, oh, they really want to go for it. Falstad could gust, and does. Gust them into the wall, and oh boy, the damage! And Karazim is the first one to fall, then Odin gets obliterated, and that is just tough. They're losing a lot here. That was big damage right there, and it worked out perfectly. Falstad was hiding, gusted them into the range, big damage, quick kills, easy defense against the Punisher that followed afterwards, and Falstad instantly finds himself back down at the bottom of the map to try and push. So yeah, they're looking really good, especially with the rest of the team now also pushing in. And Blaze gets a jet propulsion off, but with now Jojo saying hello, he needs to get away. Bunkers up. There was no blessed shield available anyways, but the team had to react, and this means they abandoned the top lane a bit, where we now have Virgil pushing once more. So he's trying to get the buff, does get it, and there is no reaction. No reaction whatsoever from the red team. They could technically try and get somebody up, but they were going for the kill against Sergeant Hammer first. The problem is that this kill now results in them eating tons of damage at the top fort. So while we are slowly starting to finally get some kills for Names Are Overrated, it's still DDX that is making some smarter moves just on a macro level. I like what's happening now for Names Are Overrated, though. They have a numbers advantage all of a sudden, and they're using it in the middle to at least take the wall out. And Zagara, this is the death move. No, stay there! Oh, honestly, she got the wall, but I would love in a situation like this for Zagara to just stay a bit longer. That Infest plus Inspire buff, I really want to see this a lot more in action. And we got some glimpse of it here. but they are essentially trying to mirror what Dino did with Team Rip earlier today. So, level 16 is available now for DDX, and we have on level 16 for Sergeant Hammer now Executioner right here. Lots of stuns, slows, and roots obviously on the team that they're now trying to leverage. They want that fort. Yeah. So, yeah, they want the fort, and they might not be able to get it here. ETC, no Mosh available, but in comes the attack. Oh, and the Maw against D.Va. Punish completed. The Punish quest on level 4 completed for Jojo. That's massive for DDX, but they're losing Rhaegar. Rhaegar, Tychus, and ETC all dying. Blaze falls too, and all of a sudden, the red team is reduced to 2 heroes. Oh! The 3-2-3 moment. Tactical pause confirmed, everybody. Okay, so apparently something went wrong on their side, but that's only 2 heroes that are still remaining. And Falstad could now try and move into the middle, for example. Doesn't have to be the middle. They obviously have a few more lanes that they could try and exploit now with Falstad pushing aggressively. But just generally speaking, they have 4 heroes on the map. This fort will fall within seconds. There's absolutely no saving that. And then it's the main question of how are you going to try and use that advantage that you have and abuse it. And in the middle, there's a fort that is exposed. Technically, at the bottom of the map, you could try and make a bit of a play for this. But, yeah, so we'll see how this exactly plays out. But we'll see. Time will tell once that we are back up. So let's see how DDX is going to play this. Names are overrated on the other hand. They are definitely having a tough time being now six kills behind, amongst other things. And we're back to business. So, the reason for the pause has also been revealed. So, apparently, that with the new patch, obviously came also a couple of issues. Vala, for example, is currently just generally banned from the tournament. But we also have a ban on that level 13 talent. So, the Hydrolyst Transfusion as a talent is currently apparently bugged and got banned. I honestly don't know exactly what the bug is. But because they picked it regardless, even though it was pinged, a free win was offered to DDX. So the admin pointed it out and he said, well, listen guys, we told everybody what the bans, that this talent is banned. You picked it anyways. Even if it's a mistake, we have to offer a free win to DDX. So the blue team was told that if they wanted to, they can just take the win in game 3. And they just said, we don't care, we want to play this out. And so kudos to DDX, round of applause over here. Nicely done. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. I would heavily assume that it was not intentional, but names are overrated. I honestly don't even know myself what the current ban on this one is. There was a lot of stuff happening with the patch. We've been going over that obviously throughout the day. But the blue team is in the lead anyways. They are 6 kills ahead right now. They're more than a level ahead. Oh, and they're going to get a couple of more kills, aren't they? Sniper is dead on Zagara again. That's the 4th time. The 3rd time that Zagara dies. Tychus has died 4 times already. And there's a massive push now up at the top with the siege. First of all, with Sergeant Hammer sieging up, with the Punisher just jumping in and getting insta value here, we have everything going for them. The Inspire buff on the minions, the full 5-man, and the team is just going through their top lane like hot butter through cheese. Absolutely murdering it. ETC gets stunned out for a second, was close to dying too. They're barely able to move out, and the Keep can't run away. That's a shame for the Keep, and therefore is eliminated. So now 13 minutes in, and that is massive damage here. So, yeah, nicely done. Job well done by them. So far, so good. That means that we now have 11 kills to 4, and more control by DDX as they get closer and closer to winning Game 3 and therefore the series. So, at this point, we have at the bottom of the map Falstad still getting some extra XP, eyeing also that camp, which the red team is now trying to grab for themselves. Big lead in minion experience for the blue team, and that is mirrored by a lead in hero experience, mercenary experience, passive and structural XP. Another gust, and oh boy, if they lose the team here, then it's over. Level 20 talents are in. They got the Storm talent advantage. Here comes the move by ETC. He has a mosh pit technically. He wants to use it. Khan gets killed. ETC is gone. Triple more, but I don't think it matters. Zagara is dead and the palm gets triggered. Both Tychus and Karazim are trying to escape onto the wrong side of the map. as top lane we already have catapults moving towards the core. There's the Kerosene kill. Tigers gets destroyed. Top side is pressuring already. It's only Blaze. Forget it. Blaze is dead too. Blaze is dead as well. And this is likely going to be the end of it. The catapults are on the core. The next minion wave is going to spawn in 8 seconds. And we have more catapult minions and heroes now coming in. It's going to be a victory for DDX. They move on to the next round of the losers bracket. Names are overrated with some fantastic games and a huge entertainment factor here in Group B. But they are the first team to be eliminated. Nicely done. GG, well played. Big win here from the blue team.